There are estimated to be between 8 and 12 million Roma, or gypsies as many people call them, in Europe. They are that continent's largest minority group, and almost everywhere in Europe they're considered a problem. In the 1990s, Roma from a number of Central European countries started coming to Canada, seeking refugee status. They said they were fleeing discrimination and persecution by skinheads and other racist extremists. Canada accepted many as refugees, and the Roma started building a community here. For many, it might seem strange that people from democratic countries in Europe could be refugees. Look deeper into the story of the Roma, and the truth does not seem so strange. This is their story.
Teď o tom mluvím. Trošku, jakmile děláte pressing, oni už nevědějí, co robiť.
Tibor Lukáš is frustrated. His soccer team, the FC Bohemians of Hamilton, has been playing well,
Žádnej strach, jeďte do
but they
nich.
can't seem to win. Again tonight, he's missing some key players. It's a Friday evening game, and a couple of the Bohemians' top defenders are still at work, delivering pizzas. Friday's a busy night in the pizza business.
It was a little bit problems, because I had to pick up, from the midfield, and put that people to the defense, so it's not how it's supposed to be.
The FC Bohemians soccer team was Tibor's creation. It's a team composed mostly of young Roma from Hungary, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia. Tibor is himself Roma and came to Canada from the Czech Republic in the 1990s as a refugee. He learned English, attended a community college, and now has a good job as a community worker at the Hamilton Urban Core Community Health Center.
At Urban Core, we're working with the people, with the most marginalized people, actually from, let's say, from homeless to refugees, to anybody who need help.
It was 2 years ago when he was working with some newly arrived Roma refugees from Central Europe that Tibor got the idea of starting a soccer team.
Okay. I talked with a couple of people who was saying that they was doing all kind of sport activity in Czech Republic, Hungary, or in Slovakia, and I said, oh, okay, let's look for the soccer team, So I went, talked with the communities, and I asked Urban Core Community Health Center, and that's how we put it together.
Down the road from Hamilton, it's the street festival season in Toronto. On St. Clair Street, in the city's West End, the street is closed to traffic. Restaurants are serving on the sidewalk, and the crowds are in a relaxed summer mood. Tamás Banya is part of the action. He's a recently arrived Roma from Hungary, and tonight he's playing with members of his wife's family, who also come from Hungary. Tamás is playing the music he learned as a child. He calls it authentic Hungarian Roma or gypsy music.
Roma authentic song, sometimes, crying song. What is heard, the slowly. Faster, it's the, party. Dancing, drinking, everything. And many song story, it's the love. Roma love.
Tamás still remembers the day in Budapest when, as an 8-year-old, he first heard traditional Roma music.
I hear that and, oh my God, I like that. I like that and I want that music play. I need a guitar. And my father buy the guitar and I beginning playing. And I'm happy because I can't playing popular pop rock no. I like original tradition Roma folk music.
The Banya family's status in Canada is very uncertain. Tamas, his wife Natasha, and older child Claudia originally came to Canada from Hungary in 2002, but returned to Hungary shortly afterward. Then they decided to try Canada again in 2009. Having come and gone and come back again, they cannot now claim refugee status. Only younger child, Aaron, who was born in Hungary after their initial return, is eligible. Now they're waiting to see if Canada accepts him as a refugee, which would mean the whole family can stay.
Hi, can I give you this, please? It's a little bit of education. Enlighten your minds. Hi, can I give you this, please?
In downtown Toronto, near the Federal Court building, some Roma high school students are handing out leaflets in support of a court case that seeks to reverse the recent spate of negative decisions for Roma refugee claimants.
It's better than nothing, right?
A few years ago, most Roma refugees had their claims accepted. These days, however, Roma who say they're refugees are having a harder time convincing the authorities. Many of them face the daily threat of deportation.
Well, it's a pretty bleak situation right now for any Roma refugees that are coming here.
Gina Chanye, the executive director of the Toronto Roma Community Centre, wonders why the rules have changed so drastically.
At one point, there was a 97% acceptance rate a year and a half ago approximately, and now there is approximately less than 1% acceptance rate of Roma refugee claimants.
Among those Roma who've had a claim denied is Tibor's brother and the FC Bohemians coach, Ladislav or Laszlo Lukács. He works day and often night shifts as a cook at a well-known German restaurant in downtown Hamilton. Ladislav's family is happy here. He likes his job, and his two sons are doing well at school. But Canada's Immigration and Refugee Board recently denied the family's refugee claim and told them they'd have to return to the Czech Republic. Ladislav says he told the board member adjudicating their case that his family experienced racism in the Czech Republic. He mentioned the time someone painted a swastika on their door and the words "Death to Gypsies." But the board member was skeptical.
Víš, protože já nemohl jsem pochopit tu otázku, jak nám je furt dávala, že odkud vím, že ten hákový štít, to bylo nakreslené na mojí dveře, že to bylo pro mě a že to napsal tam, že smrt ciganům a shromaděnou, že jestli to bylo pro mě. Nechápal jsem tu otázku.
Now Ladislav and his family are appealing their case to the federal court.
They don't care, what kind of guys you are.
And Ladislav knows what he wants to say to the judge.
Na odvolání, já bych jenom rád bych zeptal, nevím, ale víš to, jako toho, asi toho nejvyššího, to jsem sedil v soudě, že jak to vůbec myslíte, že pro jednoho Roma je Česká republika je bezpečná a pro druhého Roma už ne?
A recent addition to the FC Bohemians team, playing defense, is Dominic Tomko.
We play good soccer, you know. Roma players is good, and sometimes is a little bit, like emotion. Too much emotion in Roma players.
Máte, hele kluci, ještě furt máte šanci, ještě v klidu. Nic není ztracený, hrajte.
Dominic works in construction by day and plays soccer evenings and weekends. He and his wife sold everything they had in Slovakia to make new lives for themselves and their two young kids here in Hamilton.
In Slovakia, they tell you are Roma, you are bad. Gypsies like garbage, yeah. I'm no garbage. I'm Roma. I'm person. I want to work. I want to learn. I have red blood. I have red blood like you.
Another soccer player who fears deportation daily is the team's leading striker, number 11, Jakub Penica.
Dobrý, dobrý.
He came to Hamilton in 2009 from the Czech Republic's Steel City, Ostrava. His playing style has lots of verve and finesse, and he has quickly become an offensive threat for the FC Bohemians.
Offside.
But Jakub has lots of things on his mind aside from winning soccer games.
I'm a refugee, but I don't know because I don't talk to my lawyer like long time,
We play Tuesday and Friday.
I think I wanna start a new life here, so that's why I, apply for refugee.
Yeah, this is the notice of decision.
In multicultural cities like Toronto, the recently arrived Roma seem to blend in with everyone else. Many of those who've come to Canada in the last few years have ended up here in this cluster of apartment buildings in the city's West End. In the Banya family apartment on the 11th floor, while 4-year-old Aaron Banya plays with a favorite toy, his father reacts to some bad news about Aaron's refugee claim.
This is the notice of decision, Refugee and Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada. And the decision is not conversion refugee and is not a person in need of protection. Therefore, the Refugee Protection Division react the claim.
The Immigration and Refugee Board has rejected Aaron Banya's claim.
This is very bad.
But the Banya family believes Hungary is a dangerous place for Aaron and for all of them.
This is horrible.
2 days later, Tamas heads uptown to meet with his lawyer, immigration specialist Wenny Lee.
And I've already filed an application in the federal court. The authorities accept the fact that there is severe discrimination and even persecution if you can take it to the next level. But the authorities do not believe that what we call in legal language state protection is not available to the Hungarian Romas. And what that means is that they believe that the police authorities or any governmental authorities can provide the protection that the Romas need. Your pre-removal risk assessment has been sent back for a reconsideration.
Tamash's lawyer believes that in practice, Hungary is not providing adequate state protection to the Roma people. And so she's trying to find another way to allow the Banya family to stay in Canada.
We've submitted a humanitarian and compassionate application.
She's asking Canadian government officials to consider the family's case from a humanitarian point of view.
You were in Hungary when you started. The legal test that they use is that would it cause undue, undeserved, or disproportionate hardship to send someone back to their home country and deny them permanent residence.
None of this is keeping Tamas away from his music. He takes pride in playing what he calls authentic gypsy folk music in the traditional style. He knows hundreds of traditional songs in both the Roma and Hungarian languages and has studied the different varieties of Roma music throughout Europe. And now he's branching out. He'll soon be going on stage with Canadian world music performer Joanna Moon. And today, he's showing her a few things.
Not many chords. This is easy because you don't have an other.
Yeah, but it's the way you bring it there.
"28 Victoria Street North, Hamilton. The apartments here are home to Tibor Lukáš, his brother Ladislav, the cook and soccer coach, and his wife and kids, and Jakub Penica, the team's leading offensive player. Like many of the Central European Roma, Tibor grew up under communism. Life was hard then, he says. The communists did not respect the Roma people's distinct culture and sometimes subjected Roma women to forced sterilization. But under communism, the Roma did have jobs and housing, and overt racism was not tolerated. Then came the Velvet Revolution of 1989.
It was victory.
After 1989, when the communists gone, many people was feeling, oh, okay, now it's free, I can say whatever I want, even if it will hurt to you. Psychologically detesting you, how you will react. They identifying themselves that they are white people and we are black niggers, actually how they calling us. You know, so yeah, maybe we got a little bit darker skin, I don't know, you know. But I think it is our identity, it is our culture, what they hate.
Jakob Panika now has a partner in Canada, Lauren, a Métis woman, and together they have a 2-year-old son, Brooklyn. Growing up in Ostrava in the Czech Republic, Jakob, like many other Roma, couldn't find work and daily feared being harassed or attacked.
The people in Czech, they don't like gypsies. I don't know, like if somebody's gypsy in my country, it's hard to find work and everything. Racism everywhere and, you know, discrimination.
Jakob's biggest worry, should he be forced to return to the Czech Republic, is how Lauren and Brooklyn would be treated there.
Yeah, Lauren, it's like native, yes, so they watch her and they think she's gypsy or something, so.
What would happen to her there and to Brooklyn? What would people say about her?
She's dirty, she's gypsy, she, like, you know, like, they think she's gypsy because, you know, if somebody's dark, they say, oh, you gypsy, or something.
This is the Europe that the Roma in Canada left behind. To most visitors from other countries, Hungary and the Czech Republic seem like charming countries, full of bustling shops and busy streets and extraordinary historic architecture. To many Roma, though, these are places where they've experienced discrimination in housing, employment, and education, social rejection, and sometimes worse, outright violence. We, as filmmakers, came to see what kind of life the Roma have here with our own eyes. Our journey started in star soccer striker Jakub Panika's hometown in the eastern Czech Republic. Ostrava is a tough coal and steel town near the Polish border. Its industry has hit hard times, but this city is still, in a way, the Hamilton of the Czech Republic. There are more than 300,000 people in this city. From 10 to 20% of them are Roma. As in the rest of Europe, though, it's hard to know how many Roma there really are, because many Roma do not advertise their identity. Some are forced to come forward, though, seeking help. Here in the cramped office of a local Ostrava organization called Life Together, a homeless Roma family is hoping to find accommodation so the injured father, a skilled welder who wants to get back to work, can recover from a head injury. Life Together's founder, Kumar Vishwanathan, gets on the phone to locate a landlord who'll rent to a Roma family, something most landlords refuse to do.
They're moving around for 5 months, for 5 winter months, yeah, Central Europe in harsh winter, squatting in unsafe places, threatened because they are afraid that their children may be taken away when the authorities come to know of it. So we have to do something. We cannot just say, sorry, it's not our business.
Later the same day, Kumar visits the district known as Ostrava's Roma Ghetto. Here, Kumar has near rock star status with the local children. Kumar explains that after World War II, the communist regime moved Roma here from Slovakia to work in the local mines and factories.
this part used to be a very prosperous part historically.
Before the war, these once gracious apartment buildings housed a well-established Jewish community that almost completely disappeared in the Holocaust. Today, the district has been reoccupied by Roma, who can't find accommodation elsewhere. Although the landlords charge high rents, they do little to maintain the properties or even to assure proper sanitation.
No tak co mám mluvit, to jsou mokré byty všechny. A tady pod oknem mám žumpu, chtěla jsem to točit všechno, ten smrad všechno nahoru. Já kašla jsem na plice všechno. A i lupenku, co mám tady tež. A z čeho? Z těch bytí smradlavých tady. A jak mu něco řekneme, tak nechci dělat. A tohle se tady všechny tlačí.
Ploutenky ve škole. Nehygienické prostředí tady je, však to vidíte. Jo? Tady ten majitel, co je? Tady ten majitel. Pane Kumar, jak budou žít? Co s nás, řekněte mi, pane Kumar, vy jako studovaný člověk, co oni s nás chcou dělat? Co? Psi? My jsme psi, Romové jsme psi tady v České republice? To může být tady toto v Kanadě, tady toto?
The situation is just the same everywhere. Municipalities don't want the Roma. They want to get rid of them. Roma women complain that when they go to the maternity ward, they're side streamed into the Roma maternity room. Yeah, the children are born separately. Then they go to school separately in segregated schooling. They live separately.
But there are more ominous threats to the Roma here than discrimination and de facto segregation. This is the sort of graffiti we saw everywhere in the Czech Republic. It says blacks, that is Roma, get out. And this is the message, accompanied by threats of violence, that increasingly aggressive extremist groups spread from one public demonstration to another. This anti-Roma demonstration in the town of Nový Bidzov in March of 2011 is typical of what happens almost weekly somewhere in the Czech Republic. The history of the Roma people in the Czech Republic is a particularly tragic one. Along with the Jews, the Nazis considered the Roma to be Untermenschen and targeted them for extermination. There are no exact records, but historians estimate that about a quarter of the Roma in countries under Nazi occupation or allied to the Nazis died. In the Czech Republic, though, 90% of the Roma perished. The Museum of Roma Culture in the Czech Republic's second largest city, Brno, tells that story. It shows the faces of some of the victims of the brutally efficient Nazi killing machine.
There was winter, there was mud, and small gypsy was born.
One of the museum's goals is to build bridges of understanding between the Roma and the white Czech majority.
These are just some examples of how the Roma culture went into the majority society.
But bridging the divide between the Roma and the rest of the country is an uphill battle.
They were doing heavy work.
As Lucy Krizova, the museum's director of public relations, knows only too well.
I think approximately 5 years ago, when people were asked what is their experience with Roma community, 75% said it's negative. Recently, I think this or last year, it was 85%.
They make problems sometimes often.
I think in Czech Republic they are not so popular because they're stealing.
They have sometimes many problems with their job.
I think that they are very good artists. For example, musicians or dancers.
It's a problem of education, and it will take a long time, and I don't think so that my son will find some big change here.
In Central Europe, the gulf between Roma and the majority population is most marked in education. In both Hungary and the Czech Republic, a high proportion of Roma children are consigned to virtually segregated schools, such as this one in Brno, where Roma are classified as slow learners. In theory, there's no school segregation here, but the reality is quite different.
Používám počítač každý den.
The English teacher at this school explains what it means to be a basic or practical school, which is what this one is.
We don't use a gypsy school or Roma school. It's normal primary school, but full of Romas.
What happens in case of education is actually segregation of Roma children into special schools based on quasi-medical criteria, which is being diagnosed with something which is called light brain disorder.
I will show you.
Is the education the same here as in all the other
No. It's a little bit lower. Sledují sestru.
Because it was so criticized, it abolished these special schools and renamed them, so now they're called practical schools. But the situation remained the same.
Já myslím na angličtinu.
So when it comes to children and education, I see it as a major social failure. Imagine any group in any society being segregated and disempowered in such way.
The Hungarian capital, Budapest, was home to Tamás Banya and his family before they left for Canada. Tamás's Facebook friend, Bela Radic, and his wife Etta live in Budapest in a small apartment in an industrial part of the city. It's a long way from the home they once had in St. Catharines, Ontario.
The life is very good in Canada, so very nice people and a very nice country. We liked it so much. It was very peaceful life.
Bela and Etta sold everything they had and moved to Canada in the year 2000, asking for refugee status. They got an apartment in St. Catharines, Ontario, and they both found jobs.
Beilleszkedtünk, dolgoztunk, hagytak dolgozni, beilleszkedtünk, tehát mi segélyt nem kértünk, mi saját magunkat tartottuk el.
Ugyanazt tudom elmondani, mert rólunk el lehet mondani, hogy mi teljes mértékben beilleszkedtünk a kanadai társadalomba. Ha rajtunk múlt volna, akkor soha nem jöttünk volna hazába az országba. A mai napig sem jöttünk volna haza.
But just 2 years after they'd started a new life in Canada, the Canadian Immigration and Refugee Board said Bela and Etta and their son would be safe in Hungary and sent them back to Budapest.
It's my workplace.
This is my wife's workplace.
In St. Catharines, Etta worked full-time as a housekeeper in a hotel. In Budapest, she can only find part-time work cleaning offices at night. Bela is not so lucky. He worked as a delivery man in Canada, but can't find any work in Budapest. He says it's because of his dark skin, his gypsy appearance. And so Bela spends his time as a Roma activist and blogger.
They say I am stinky gypsy.
That means he has a known email address, and having that address means neo-Nazi extremists have found him.
In your head, there is no gunshot, but it will be soon.
Every day, Bela receives scores of violent and hateful emails.
Dead upon you.
And he and Etta take these threats seriously, because at times extremists have moved beyond words to violent action. While we were filming in Hungary, a group of extremists were on trial for the murder of an entire Roma family, including a young child.
The police don't do anything.
Bela doesn't bother telling the police in Budapest about the internet threats he gets, because, he says, it doesn't do any good.
The police is almost friend with this neo-Nazi people, you know. So if I go to the police, they only laughing about this.
The Roma have always been somehow excluded from the mainstream society. They have always lived in poverty, and they always have been disadvantaged in education or on the labor market.
Vera Messing is a Budapest sociologist who has spent many years researching the attitudes of the Hungarian majority towards the Roma. In 2002, the Canadian government consulted her on the Hungarian situation, and she reported that majority attitudes were showing signs of improvement. Today, however, Dr. Messing says things are much worse.
There has been a fundamental change since the turn of 2000. 10 years ago, there was no open, there were anti-Roma feelings, but it was not politically correct to express, and Roma people were not physically threatened. Today, anti-Roma militia is allowed to march and threaten people in Roma villages, and the police does not intervene, in fact. So the police is there, but doesn't do anything, and Roma people feel fear and feel attacked.
In March of 2011, the kind of occupation Vera Messing talks about happened an hour's drive east of Budapest, in the rural village of Gyöngyös-Bata. Armed militiamen, sometimes called gardists, patrolled the streets with dogs and whips for the purpose, they said, of controlling Roma crime. Today, 2 weeks after the occupation, Roma leaders and supporters make the drive to Gyöngyös-Bata to hold a counter-demonstration in support of the Roma who live there. They hold a rally at the bottom of the hill, in the Roma section of town. While human rights activist Vince Sava addresses the crowd, scores of police gather nearby. There are rumors that neo-Nazi skinheads are planning to disrupt the rally.
Megdöbbentő az, ami Magyarországon történik. A cigányság nagy része sajnálatos módon igen félelembe él, rettegésben él szó szerint, tehát egyszerűen üldözöttek lettek a cigányok ebben az országban.
The Roma of Gyöngyös-Bata make the long march up the town's hill. Flanked by supporters and police, they walk quietly past the homes of their non-Roma neighbors. Many of these non-Roma villagers believe the occupation 2 weeks ago by the Hungarian Guard was necessary.
Szerintem igazán ráfért a falura, hogy legyen egy kicsit ugye egy ellentmondó erő, mert ugye nagyon el vannak harapózva. A törések, a fiatal lányok molesztálása, meg hasonló dolgok. Úgyhogy ugye ezért volt itt a Magyar Gárda.
Akkor igazából lehet látni, hogyha valaki idejön, ott is el fogják mondani a cigányok, hogy milyen borzalmas megfélemlítésen mentek át.
És amikor megfenyegették itt ennek a háznak az ajtójába bement az ember, és azt mondta neki, hogy azt mondja, nem ustorral verünk meg benneteket, meg...
Azt mondták, fehér Magyarországot akarnak. Indiába menjünk vissza. Azt mondták, hogy a vérünkből építek fel a házunkat.
Holott mi évszázadok óta ugyanolyan állampolgárai vagyunk Magyarországnak, a Kárpát-medencébe.
Én amennyire hallottam, meg ugye egy-két kollégámat ismerem, nem tudom. Inkább azt tudnám mondani.
Azt mondják rá, hogy büdös retkesek, meg hogy tolvajok, és soha senkitől egy tűt nem loptam el.
Hogy ez inkább csak ilyen felvonulás volt, meg ugye egy kis rájukijesztés, hogy vegyék már a lapot, hogy nem csak ők vannak többségben, hanem úgy ezt meg tudnánk mi is csinálni.
Ijesztették a gyerekeket, lejöttek ide a házunk elé, kiabáltak, megdöglöttek, büdös cigányok, rátok gyújtjuk a házat, a véretekbe építünk kint a dombon házakat, megpörzsölünk, te retkes nyakúak.
De hát nem ez a lényege, hanem pont az lenne a lényeg, hogy fogják vissza magukat, meg vegyék alapot, hogy dolgozni kéne járni, iskolába kéne járni, meg nem az, hogy bejárnak a boltba és ellopják, amit akarnak.
For human rights activist Vince Sava, much of the blame for the escalation of anti-Roma prejudices lies with the rising force in Hungarian politics, the extreme right Jobbik party.
Bűnbakkeresés, politikai önös érdekek vannak a háttérben, és itt most még egyszer szeretném ugye kiemelni azt negatív értelemben, hogy az a bizonyos párt, a Jobbik, aki ugye parlamentbe jutott a cigányság és a zsidóság lejáratásával, támadásával, ellenük elkövetett akciókkal.
A bankoknak mindent szabad.
Míg dolgozunk, This television commercial gives an idea of Jobbik's message.
A cigánybűnözőknek mindent szabad.
The ad compares the Roma to annoying mosquitoes and promises that Jobbik can deal with this annoyance.
Elegünk van az élősködésből. Ha önnek is, október 3-án szavazzon a Jobbikra.
In the national election of 2010, Jobbik got nearly 1 million out of a total of slightly less than 7 million votes, vaulting from fringe party status to a strong third place in Hungary's parliament. In early April of 2011, Jobbik held this demonstration not far from the Roma neighborhood in the town of Hegyozalanta. In Hungary, as in the Czech Republic, these events happen with great frequency. Fourteen-year-old Claudia Banya is up early. Back in Hungary, she dreaded going to school. Here in Toronto, she looks forward to it.
When I was in Hungary, the people are bothering because I'm Roma, but here it doesn't matter.
Claudia walks the 15 city blocks to Alexander Muir Gladstone Avenue Public School
Gonna go there? I don't know.
and hangs out in the schoolyard with friends until the school bell rings.
Here is don't have are you gypsy, you are not my friend, and this.
Do people in your school know you're a Roma?
Yeah,
What do they think about that?
nothing. They are my friends.
In her 8th grade class, Claudia counts young people from Africa, Vietnam, China, Portugal, and Latin America among her close friends.
I know, Claudia, what do you think about
There are over 20 languages spoken in the school.
cops are tracking?
In today's class, Claudia and her fellow students are working in teams.
And more and more.
These students have varied levels of English language proficiency and come from many different cultures. None, however, are classified as slow learners and segregated from the rest. While his daughter Claudia is getting a full dose of Canadian multiculturalism in her school, Tamás Banya continues his multicultural musical quest. Since arriving in Canada, Tamás has played with other Roma musicians and with French-Canadian world music performer Joanna Moon. Sharing his musical knowledge with Joanna led to a gig for Tamás here at the Lula Lounge. It's another opportunity to play his traditional Hungarian Roma music, and it's introducing a whole new sound to these musicians who normally specialize in flamenco and Latin music.
Thank you.
It's close to the end of the season for the FC Bohemians.
Watch.
The team's founder and manager, Tibor Lukács, says they're playing with heart,
Yes.
but they're still not winning many games.
My players is a lot better players, but they are just unable to play simple game. How they was playing in Europe, sometimes, so complicated, let's do that. But it's not working here, it's different.
Some players have been deported. Others are too busy with jobs and family to keep playing.
Guys, take water.
Number 11, Jakub Panika, is still showing promise as a striker. He gets frustrated easily, and Tibor still thinks he has a lot to learn.
He's a great player, and I will say maybe he's one of the best players here in Hamilton. Only one thing's his problem, he's not passing the ball, which is a big problem.
Ladislav, Tibor's brother and the team's coach, is still working at the German restaurant when he's not on the soccer field. He clings to the hope that if he shows he can be a good, hard-working Canadian, and if the Federal Court of Appeal will listen to his full story, maybe he and his family will be allowed to stay. Dominic Tomko is still playing hard, doing his best to keep the other team from scoring. His own status in Canada is still uncertain. He's still waiting for his first hearing at the Immigration and Refugee Board. Tomasz Bania is celebrating International Roma Day at a downtown Toronto club. And today he's playing his authentic Roma folk music with the help of 2 new bandmates, one on double bass, the other on violin. The music is lively and the mood upbeat. But like Dominic, Ladislav and Jakub, Tomasz and his family are still very uncertain as to what the future holds. When we got back from filming in Hungary and the Czech Republic, we invited Tomasz and his family in Toronto and Tibor in Hamilton to look at some of the footage.
This is the reality.
Voltak mindenfele, ahogy mentünk iskolába, mentek a gyerekek.
Cigány, te is megfogtad.
How I feel, I don't know, hopeless, They sending them back and they saying, that Czech Republic or Hungary is a safe country so they can go back. No, I don't know what they mean with safe country.
I don't know. What I saw, it's horrible. Sometimes I thinking what will be if we need to go back. I don't know. I can't. I don't want to believe we go back, but if we haven't other choice, I don't know what will be there.
Nem tudom, hogy mi fog otthon történni ezek után, hogy mi lesz, hogy lesz a romákkal. Ez a borzalom, hogy nincsen, aki segítsen nekük, akik megvédik őket.
It's wrong. What's going on in Hungary? I don't know why they are doing that. The gypsies are people. They have 2 blood. They are not animals.
Back in Hungary, Béla Radic is still posting stories about anti-Roma atrocities and still getting death threats from right-wing extremists.
So, bugger, you eat.
By now, Béla and Etta's lives in St. Catharines, Ontario seem almost like a distant dream. Here, they're watching a 9-year-old video of the goodbye party that Etta's co-workers held for her during their last few days in Canada.
They love my wife so much, and they come to say goodbye.
Just before we left Bela and Etta, we told them that their friend Tamás Banya might also be forced to leave Canada for Hungary. And this is what they had to say.
My message, don't come back. Never. Never come back. This is Hungary. Just because he's a gypsy. This is enough for them. If you are gypsy, you are not man. They think you are animal. Do not come back. Never.
I have a hearing about immigration, about refugee client, and we will see. Maybe I win, maybe I lose.
Mori drago pikoše, orbis mange kaki koki, mori drago pikoše, ai moriše, mori drago pikonje, na 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 na. Ajde! Tata pešali tegre! Mori drago pikonje, na 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 na. Mori drago pikonje, la 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 la.